Good morning. Oh, okay. Good morning, beloveds. I am. I don't know. I'm struggling this morning. I got up. It was cold. I layered up. I went for a bike ride. I got hot while I was on the bike ride. So, and then I came home and got my physical therapy done, and we still have to medicate one of the cats. Fortunately, the other cat was easy enough that one person can do that one. But Sugar there's two of us, and so just trying to get it all done. And I just got off the ice from the physical therapy, and this room is cold. The room that I'm doing this in, it is cold. And I just realized that because I'm just wearing it. The temperature in the house is 67, which, 2 years ago I would have told you it was cold, but now that I've been running for almost 3 years, it's not cold. 67 is not cold. But it may be a little cooler in this room, and I'm wearing a t-shirt, so. All right. So it is November 17th. It is Tuesday. Our title today is Sympathy, and remember we are in the month of gratitude. And our Bible quote is, "My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth." And that is 1 John 3:18. Humanity and divinity will be identical when we recognize divinity in humanity. We must learn to see through the apparent, to not judge according to appearances, and to realize that at the center of every person's soul, God is enthroned. Sympathy and compassion are the ties that bind us together in mutual understanding and in the unified attempt to uncover the divinity in each other. Sympathy is the most gentle of all human virtues, for it is the outpouring of the divine givingness through humanity. Today, I extend the hand of sympathy to everyone I meet. I permit my inward vision to penetrate every apparent obstruction, every obstinate attempt to cover up the divine, every ignorant misuse of the law of good. I withdraw the veil that hides my real self, and in so doing, unveil the reality in others. Today, I love as never before. I draw close to the Spirit in everything and in everyone. This is from the sides of my text. Whatever is true of the universe as a whole must also be true of the individual as some part of this whole. And that is from the sides of my text, 106. I did go to the eye doctor. I do need new glasses. My reading glasses are just a little. I may be getting contacts though, so we'll see. Which I'll still need reading glasses for. Go figure. Oh my God. I'm closing in on 50. All right. And one of the first things that pops into my mind towards the very end of that was, and this, you'll see this in the geek and in the nerd and that, or also in the weirdo. Is be yourself, because when you are yourself, you give other people permission to be themselves. I have been to Dragon Con. I have been to Renaissance festivals, and that's kind of what we live by. So yes, I will call myself a nerd. Yes, I will call myself a geek. Yes, I will call myself, I belong to several fandoms. And yeah, I own the name weird. I own the title weirdo. And that's really, honestly, the truth is when you are yourself, whatever that self is, you give others permission to be themselves. I run around the Renaissance Festival dressed like the TARDIS from Doctor Who. Okay? I also run around the Renaissance Festival dressed as a female Captain America. When I do that, other people see me and go, oh, if she can do that, maybe I can too. Part of where the Running Rev came from, because God help me, at this point it's the Running Rev Ryan, but I have an Instagram, a Facebook, and a YouTube channel, although I need to get back on that YouTube channel. Part of that came from, I'm not fast as a runner. My average pace is probably 16 minutes, 16 minutes a mile. I'm not fast. I'm slow. But I do it because I enjoy it. And I also understand that when people see me, when they take a look at me and go, well, she's not tall and thin, because I'm not. I'm kind of short and well curved. Then they can look at me and go, oh, if she can do it, then so can I. So when you give yourself permission to be who you are, then when you are your authentic self, then you give other people the freedom and the permission to be their authentic selves as well. And we're all these wonderful, wild expressions of the divine. And as I like to say, we let our freak flag fly. That way other weirdos can find us. So you just learned way more about me than you probably wanted to know, but there you are. So let's go back to sympathy. And I love this Bible quote. My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. Okay? So saying I love you doesn't mean anything if you don't back it up with action. And really, honestly, for some people, if you've ever read the 5 love languages, that's one of the keys to good relationships, friend relationships, business is to figure out how people are fed. And for me, spending time is my love language, and for my husband, acts of service are his love language. That's how he says I love you, by doing things for me. And so we had to figure that out. And it's a daily conversation some days. So saying I love you to anybody, and it doesn't have to be a romantic partner, but I tell Lilia is my prayer partner. I tell her I love her. But I back that up by the day before her birthday, we showed up with just a whole bunch of food from her favorite restaurant. So that's, back it up indeed. All right. So humanity and divinity will be identical when we recognize divinity in humanity. It's like I'm almost going to say subsets of divinity. It's like we carry that divine spark within us. And sometimes we let our humanity hide that. But when we let that divinity, when we recognize the divinity within ourselves and we act on that divinity in ourselves and we recognize that divinity in others, then the differences disappear. We must learn to see through the apparent, the messiness, not judge according to appearance. I don't even have to go there. And to realize that at the center of every person's soul, God is enthroned. That's one of the reasons why I like the term that Reverend Jesse uses, godly. It's like when we look into each other's eyes and see God looking back at us, even through the messy, mortal, time-bound behavior that we are all capable of, that we all do, and that hopefully occasionally we work on, and so that we can see. And again, it's especially important that when you are looking in the mirror and looking in your own eyes, that you see God looking back at you. We're good. We're good at looking at each other and seeing God looking back at us, especially in people that we love and care about. We're not so good at it with people that we disagree with and people that we don't like. And it is okay to dislike people. It's not okay to hate people. And it's not okay to act out on people. If you don't like people, then stay away from them, but don't harm them. But because they are God looking back at you. I'm not saying you have to like everybody. I am saying you have to love everybody. And there is a difference. Okay. Sympathy and compassion are the ties that bind us together in mutual understanding. We're all in this together. And we are all from the same source. And in the unified attempt to uncover the divinity in each other. The unified attempt to uncover the divinity in each other. If I can see it in you, and I can see it in myself, then I can hold the space for you to see it in yourself. And in me. And then we can all hold space for each other to see it in, yeah. We all have people we prefer not to be around. We can still see the divinity in them. Doesn't mean we have to be around them. All right. I never want you to put yourself in an unsafe situation just because you're trying to see the God in somebody. You can do that from a distance. Stay safe. Today, I extend the hand of sympathy to everyone I meet. I permit my inward vision to penetrate every apparent obstruction, every obstinate attempt to cover up the divine. I like that. Every obstinate attempt to cover up the divine. Because we all do it. We all act out. What is it that a friend of mine would... growing up, somebody would say, you're showing your tail. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, okay, so I'm not acting on my best behavior. So every obstinate attempt to cover up the divine, bad behavior. We all do it. So when it's the most important when you meet somebody who is in the midst of bad behavior to try to see to see the divine in them, to see God looking back at you. But feel free to do it from a safe distance. Don't get sucked into somebody else's drama you can't get out of just trying to see the God. That's not necessary. You are free to do that from a distance. Every ignorant misuse of the law of good. Okay, so we're trying to penetrate that. It's like, I see you using the law, and I see you getting results, and I see you getting results you don't want because you're not using the law. You are using the law unconsciously. And sometimes all we can do is plant a seed. Like, we can't go up to somebody and say, hey, you're using a law and it would be better if you did it this way. Sometimes the best we can do is just show people by our own behavior, hey, how this works. And then when they're ready, they can come and say, you seem to be a little bit better at this than me. Can you help me? And if you see something